We have new details surrounding the lockdown this morning at Tucson High. Tucson police say officers responded to the high school for the report of a large fight. Now, TPD says it turned out to be multiple fights happening at the school. There was also a report of a weapon there. The school was then placed on a hard lockdown. Officers checked the school grounds, and located the reported student with a weapon. TPD says no weapon was found and no arrests have been made. The good news is, though, the lockdown was lifted at 11:30 this morning. Classes have resumed as normal. Of course, we'll let you know if any new details come out of this.
Thank you so much for joining us for this 13 Plus FastCast. I'm Mary Coleman.
And I'm Carson Courier. We hope you're having a great Wednesday morning so far. I had to think about it a little bit. We want to ask meteorologist Corey Coates to come on in here. Yeah, Corey. Perfect. So you are tracking some active kind of storms on the radar.
Yeah, pretty similar to what we saw yesterday. Very, very active storm day, mainly to our east. And we'll take a look at our radar right now to see we do have a lot of action going on right now in and around Arizona and the Southwest in general. Let's zoom in more at our region. You can see a lot is popping up in and around Tucson. The strongest storms are to our east, as you can see, but some of these in and around Tucson, that is right around I-10 and just in areas west. It's kind of like that area I'm looking at for a lot of those storms to start triggering and then strengthening as they move off to the east. That'll be the story for today. And these are the two severe thunderstorm warnings in Cochise County right now. 60-mile-per-hour winds and 3/4 of an inch of hail, so just under severe hail. But we will track to see if any of those storms start producing anything significant on the hail front. You can see that here right now. Let's zoom in on those two cells right now. They're heading off to the east, both ending at 245, so we'll see if they can continue. Again, we have a little bit of shear today, so these storms are lasting a little longer. I wouldn't say they have that really short lifetime. So be careful if you're in the path of these storms in and around Cochise County. They could last a little longer than you think. You're thinking maybe those little popcorn storms. Not really the case today. They could be lasting for a little bit longer. And we're going to track these showers and storms throughout the rest of your day today. Around 3, 4 o'clock, that's when we're thinking about a peak in intensity-ish. And then from about 3, 4 o'clock, we're going to continue to see those sails weaken. And here is what you're looking at around 6 o'clock for your rush hour, late rush hour into dinner time commute. We have some of those storms sticking around, especially around the Tucson area. But again, less severe, less strong storms, and again, less widespread. And then by 8 o'clock, really fizzling out into pretty much nothing by the overnight hour. We're going to track for tomorrow. We're going to see those storms start popping up around noon, 1 o'clock, in and around our region in mainly areas east and northeast. And then if they're going to peak in intensity, it'll be around 2, 3 o'clock. You can see not quite as widespread of what we're seeing today. Again, this model tends to overproject the storms. And then around 6 o'clock, really, really fizzling out by the dinner time hour for tomorrow. And then really nothing throughout the remainder of that time. We got some very high dew points today. That is the moisture in the air. We look at that for the development of storms. The storms want to have a little bit more moisture, and again, really all you need is 50-degree or higher dew points. We certainly have that. How about in the high 60s for dew points for today? Certainly enough to get storms going, and really all those dew points are well high enough in terms of moisture to get those storms really cranking today. But then those dew points really start coming down to earth starting tomorrow on Thursday, when we have dew points now sub 50, getting into the 40s and maybe even the 30s by Sunday. Again, we're going to get back into that dry pattern, so maybe this could be monsoon's last gasp. We'll see. But right as of now, in our immediate future, those dew points and moisture really look to be tapering off, and that's going to result in, once again, another dry pattern, predicting really zeros across the board tomorrow. 0, if there's going to be a little bit higher than 0, slightly above it, it would be tomorrow. But then again, really settling in that dry period after that with 0% chances of showers and storms. Guys, let's talk about that heat. How about the heat that we saw? Of course, it's cooler now, but man, oh man, not only did we have a hot period just recently, but it's been a very hot summer overall. How about 7,700+ degree days? Well above normal of the entire year, right? Remember, September, we still see frequent 100-degree days. Even into October, we're still in September, and we're well above what we see normally at 68. How about 105+ days, 51, nearly doubling our normal, getting close to that record of 57. 110s, guys, with that 111 that we had there, breaking the September record. 18 now. The previous record was 10, so we nearly not only doubled, we didn't double the normal record, we nearly doubled the previous record. So just incredible heat, guys. And yeah, We are third on that annual 105-plus day record there, almost at second. Second place is 53. In September, guys, yeah, how about back on Sunday where it got to 111, guys? That wasn't just a daily record. That was the all-time September record there, 111. And a lot of days of above-average temperatures. But you can see we started off very cool, but yeah, we got those temperatures really ramping up. And then cooler as we started the week, starting Monday and now Tuesday. Even cooler right now for Wednesday with that rain and storms over the area. But overall, guys, we're going to see it cooler for the remainder of the week. Then getting a little bit hotter getting into Saturday, Sunday with those 100-degree temperatures. A little bit hotter, but again, we're certainly used to those temperatures, so nothing we're not used to. So overall, settling into more of a September temperature-wise pattern, guys.
That's awesome. Why are always the high temps on the weekend?
I know.
I don't
It's
know.
like
It is true. I don't know. That's a good point.
laughing at all of us.
I know, right?
Well, 100's better than 110.
It is, right? Better
Yeah.
than what we've had, relatively speaking. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Corey.
And sticking with our weather now, the East Coast is watching Hurricane Lee as forecasts show some potential impact in the Northeast. The National Hurricane Center says Lee will weaken as it moves into colder waters, but the wind field is expanding. That means even if there's not a direct hit, places like Cape Cod and beaches in the Northeast could see tropical storm force winds. Coastal flooding is also a concern into the weekend.
Meanwhile, in Libya, more than 5,000 are believed to have died from intense flooding. So far, over 2,000 bodies have been recovered by crews in the city of Derna. Leaders worry the death toll could spiral as more than 10,000 are still reported missing. Massive floodwaters caused by Storm Daniel washed away entire neighborhoods over the weekend. More than 40,000 people are displaced there.
And in Morocco, crews are fighting against time to find earthquake survivors. Some remote mountain villages were hit the hardest. Rescue crews are clearing rock and debris and finding nearly nothing left as everything appears destroyed. The magnitude 6.8 earthquake that devastated Morocco caused a death toll that now approaches 3,000. That number of people injured is more than 5,000. And the manhunt for an escaped prisoner in Pennsylvania has come to an end. Authorities finally located Danilo Cavalcante in a rural part of Chester County.
Yeah, that's right, Mary. Now, he was gone for more than 2 weeks. This morning when we got that report saying there was going to be a press release, a lot of kind of attention on social media talking about those troopers trying to find him overnight. Some great news for all the people living there that schools can reopen, people can feel comfortable leaving their house. We have Bradley Blackburn with the latest from New York.
State police in Pennsylvania finally nabbed escaped inmate Danilo Cavalcante, seen here in handcuffs and a damp Eagles sweatshirt as officers led him to a waiting SWAT vehicle Wednesday morning.
Our nightmare is finally over and the good guys won.
The break came around midnight when a burglar alarm went off within the police perimeter in Chester County. Officers didn't find Cavalcante but began to zero in on an area where aircraft picked up a heat source. Around 8 a.m., tactical teams made their move.
They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise. Cavalcante did not realize he was surrounded until that had occurred.
But he didn't surrender.
He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went.
A dog finally subdued the suspect.
Thank God there were no injuries to law enforcement or to the public.
Cavalcante broke out of the Chester County prison 2 weeks ago, crab walking up the walls. His time on the lam included stealing and ditching a van, stealing a .22 caliber rifle from a garage, and putting the entire area on alert.
It's been definitely a fear factor because I have a 4-year-old little boy.
Authorities say Cavalcante will be returned to full justice, serving a life sentence for the murder of his ex-girlfriend in front of her 2 children. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
And JD Wallace joins us now. JD, you kind of have new details surrounding the case that you've been really following from the beginning. The woman who was accused of trying to kill her husband by poisoning his coffee.
Carson, Mary, we have now the police report from that arrest that was back in July of Melody Feliciano Johnson. She was arrested on first-degree murder and as well as, or attempted first-degree murder, as well as domestic violence, aggravated assault, poisoning food and drink. And the main thing that we remember here is that an airman in Germany started noticing his coffee was tasting funny. This is right after he filed for divorce from Johnson, and it was after he actually went on a temporary trip to Italy. He comes back and he realizes that something really isn't right with that. He wasn't drinking the coffee for a while, so he tested it, and it did come back with a reading that showed that there were some chemicals in the water in his coffee maker. And so he actually set up cameras to record what was going on around his coffee maker. That's when he saw his wife putting something in the machine. And he waited, though, until they got back to Tucson when they moved here for him to then do that again. He went to Tucson police. He showed them the recordings. They said those aren't really detailed enough. And that's where we get more details in this police report, because then he set up more cameras in the laundry room where the bleach was, walking from the laundry room to the coffee maker and over the coffee maker to show Tucson police that she was pouring bleach into the coffee maker. So in this report, though, it really reveals that they had been married since 2006, that they had actually gone through divorce proceedings or starting to do that back in 2000. Then they reconciled. That started back up. They have a 15-year-old in common as they're divorcing. He also discovered that she had bought a home in Philippines, didn't tell him about that late last year. And he also tells the detective she kept asking about his life insurance, that she was very concerned about that. So a lot of details here, but it also showed that he was concerned about her being separated from their son, how these accusations would affect his ability to get into school here in Arizona if they brought this up in Germany back then. So once again, a lot more details just about sort of that personal relationship between this woman, her husband, and his concerns as he was telling Tucson police about that. We'll have more on 13 News Live at 3 and at 5.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a case a lot of people were intrigued by. So
I mean, we don't hear about something like this every day, and for people who are married or in relationships, of course, probably even more of an interest to them.
Thanks, JD.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Continuing with some of your news now, tonight you will have a chance to weigh in on potential changes to smoke shops in Tucson. Officials are trying to make it harder for kids to get vapes and e-cigarettes. The proposal would require new smoke shops to be at least 1,000 feet away from smoke shops or schools. More than 2.5 million students reported using a smoke device just last year. One local smoke shop says they see around 20 kids a day, and each one gets turned down. Tonight's discussion is online only. That gets started at 6 o'clock. We do have more information on our website on how you can weigh in on this. And our Rebecca Taylor joins us now for a look at what she's working on for today. Rebecca, you're working on a story about the current state of the housing market.
Yeah.
Something that's just been up and down for so many people.
I know personally, my husband and I, we were looking into buying a house, and we were like, maybe we should wait a little bit.
A lot of people feel the same way as you, but I will tell you right now in Tucson, home sales and the prices are up. So I want to start with a little bit of trivia. So here we go.
Let's do it.
All right, when it comes to the median sales price in Tucson right now, our home's going for $360,000, $295,000, or $320,000.
I'm going to say 320.
I was going to say either 320 or 360. I'll go with 320.
360.
Oh.
So Tucson has seen record high prices for 4 months in a row.
Oh, my goodness.
Right now. Whereas houses in Phoenix are actually down.
Wow.
So we spoke with the chief operating officer at Long Realty here in Tucson, and he describes to us why the Tucson market is different than really any place else in the country. Right now, buyers are still dealing with high interest rates. We're dealing with low inventory, but still here in Tucson, prices are up.
Wow.
Does he give any advice for people like myself on kind of when those prices can expect to go down, or we just have to wait and see?
You have to wait and see, but
Okay.
he did say that he does not think that prices are going to go down anytime soon.
Well,
Sad news, but hey,
Yeah.
we appreciate the honesty. 'cause like you said,
exactly.
a lot of people are looking and they just
Yeah.
kind of don't know what to do. So.
So his advice is to work with a professional real estate agent
Okay.
in your local community. And he attributes these rising prices to a couple of things. Number one, new residents coming into Tucson.
yeah.
And we can tell by the amount of traffic that we see
Oh, yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
People are moving here every day.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the driving too, we can tell, but hey, that's another story.
Yeah.
And the other reason is the interest rates.
Yeah.
So people are a little fearful of getting a home loan, but there's a flip side to it. Just think, if you were to have refinanced your home a couple years ago and you're locked in at a 2 to 3% interest rate, you are going to feel kind of stuck in your home. People are not moving because they can't afford to get a new house. So there's very low inventory. That's another reason where it's contributing to our high sales prices.
Wow. Well,
Now,
go ahead first.
Rebecca, I was going to ask kind of when can people expect to see your story breaking down all of these different factors?
It's going to be tonight live on News 4 Tucson live at 6.
Awesome. Thank you so
All right,
much.
Thanks,
You got
Rebecca. We'll see you then.
Perfect. Moving now to our website, kind of a fun story for you all to see. It is finally time for Barbie's sidekick to go from being just Ken to a National Toy Hall of Fame inductee. Now, the Mattel doll, introduced in 1961, brought to life by Ryan Gosling in the blockbuster Barbie movie, is among 12 finalists being considered for induction this year. He is up against baseball cards, Battleship, Bingo, Bop It. I mean, you come on, look at your screen. Mary, I know these are all toys. I personally used to love the Bop It. It's bringing up all these different memories. But the National Toy Hall of Fame is marking its 25th anniversary with a strong slate, as you can see. Barbie was inducted as part of the Hall of Fame's inaugural class in 1998, so of course Ken falling a little bit far behind here. Voters will pick the top 3 by September 20th, and they will be inducted on November 9th.
Very cool.
Super fun.
I didn't know that voting was a thing.
I didn't know it was either. I was reading this story on our website, and I'm like, that is so interesting. So anybody else who wants to kind of go to KOLD.com, click on this story. Lots to learn about our toys here.
Absolutely. A
Yeah.
fun little story. All right, we're going to end with something nice and cool. Look at those raindrops on the camera.
I know. Good news.
Good news indeed. Far cry from the 111 we saw this weekend. I couldn't believe that that's where we're at now. So,
Oh, I know.
looking good out there.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Tune in at 7:30 for more news.